started. We'll get started. Let's get started in a child's pose. So just coming down onto your knees and hanging out momentarily on your knees for a second, just to see how that feels. And then as you take a couple deep breaths, you can bring your heart towards the mat and then into just a very soft, lazy, beautiful child's pose. Whatever feels good to you. You might feel like you want your knees together, or it might feel more comfortable to have them apart. I always like mine apart for that hip stretch. And then you can have your arms reaching out to the front if you want to get into your shoulders, or you can just have them elbows bent, hands almost by your head. And then here we'll just come into the space, taking some nice deep breaths. On the inhale, you might feel your stomach pushing against your thighs, and then on the exhale, you might feel yourself sinking more deeply into the mat. And if it's uncomfortable, you can always put a block under your forehead. That always helps too. So as you take 3 deep breaths, feel the breaths moving all the way down to the lower back on the inhale. Expanding through the lower back, the ribs, the chest, and then on the exhale, letting it all go. Just a couple more like that as you feel your body coming into a relaxation mode. Feeling the tension easing out of your shoulders and your hips. Maybe you wiggle your hips from side to side, continuing to breathe deeply into your belly. One more deep breath here. And as you come up, just walking your hands towards your body, coming on up. Moving on to hands and knees now. We're going to get some movement through the spine by doing some cat-cows. So inhaling, you're dropping the belly, opening through the chest, the whole front body opens, and then on the exhale, rounding through the spine, chin to chest, stretching through your neck, opening again, feeling your belly drop, looking up, tail up, exhaling, rounding, getting into the back of the shoulders. And then going at your own pace, whatever feels good to you. If you want, you could take some hip movement as well. So moving the hips to the right, and then back and down, and then to the left, and then up. If you like that, go ahead and do that. My hips are sore today, so I'm just going to be moving around in that circle, the circular motion with your hips. You can go into any other movements that feel good, maybe a figure 8. If you're doing the hip circles with me, just changing directions. Exhaling as your hips move back, and then inhaling as they come forward. We'll do 2 more circles. And then when you're ready, you can come to stillness on all 4s, hands and knees. Just take a second to feel into your hips. You're not thinking right now. You're not thinking about, oh, they should be this way or I should do this way. You're just feeling. Do they feel a little bit better? Do they still feel tight? What is it? And then you can take your hands and walk them in front of you. We're heading into puppy pose. So a really nice deep stretch through the armpits and shoulders. So walking your hands forward and then sinking your chest down to the mat. Forehead might touch down or it might not. You might need a block for your forehead like I do in order to feel like I'm not holding tension in my neck. So similar to child's pose, but now we're really getting into the front, or I mean the top half of the body, the shoulders, chest, armpits. And just try to breathe deeply here. If the breath is not deep, you just come out a little bit. Two more deep breaths here, feeling that opening in your armpits and your shoulders. Good, and then coming back up, walking your hands now towards you. Coming back. Let's sit back on our knees, or actually I don't know if that's comfortable for anyone. I can do it for about 2 seconds. So either sitting back onto your feet, or if you want, just come into cross-legged. We're just gonna work into our the neck a little bit more, opening up the neck. So yeah, cross-legged is the best for me, but you just choose whatever you like. We're just gonna do some head rolls, some neck rolls from side to side. So whatever way feels best for you, just go ahead and do those. You can do a full roll with your head coming to the back, or just a half one, whatever feels best. I like to go really slow and feel into each movement, each muscle. And just allowing the tension now to release. Noticing if there's some crunching going on. I'm hearing all this crunching in my ears, that's okay. And then you can switch directions. And as you're rolling your neck out, just remember to breathe. Two more circles this way. And when you're ready, come back to center. Oh, I feel a little dizzy from all that rolling. Okay, I'm good now. Awesome. All right, let's move back onto our hands and knees because we're going to come up into a low lunge to get into the hips. So you can take your blocks or just hands to the mat, whatever feels good. And then from here, bring your right foot up between your hands. Just a really gentle movement. I realize that I'm going to have to wear, I think I'm going to have to wear white because the background's black. So it's like my legs are just blending in. But anyways, you guys know what to do.
I have a cat on my back, so that might be a tricky position.
I was wondering what happened to your back. I was like, oh, what happened over there to Vera? And then if you have a cat on your back, you're just going to kind of lean down and balance the cat. And if you don't, just sinking your hips down, letting this feel really good. So you're not that active except to kind of hold yourself up in this pose. It should feel really good. As you inhale, you might come out a little bit. And as you exhale, you might lower down. Oh, I need a picture of this. taking a couple more deep breaths here. Maybe moving side to side if that feels good. And then scooching your right foot all the way to the edge of the mat. And bringing your hands now right beside your, on the inside of your right foot. So we're going into lizard, getting even more deep into the right hip. Yeah, I figured that would work for you, Vero. And then breathing here, just feeling that intense opening in the left hip flexor and the right hip. We're gonna try to hold this for another 3 deep breaths. Just giving your muscles a chance to lengthen and the fascia a chance to break up a little bit and move. And now I want to see if you can go into a child's pose with the cat on your back. So moving the right knee now back to meet the left knee and back into a child's pose. Oh, he jumped off. Ah, good. So just letting yourself feel that blood rushing back into the hip joints in child's pose here. Good, and then if you want to join me, you can come up into downward dog. So coming up to all fours, tucking the toes. Yeah, then pushing the seat back up to the sky. Knees will most likely be bent. And you're just working to get your heels closer to the ground little by little. But keeping the integrity in your straight, strong arms and making sure your neck is relaxed. So there's a lot of strength going on in this pose, but then we want the neck and the face muscles to be relaxed. Good. So now let's come into the other side with the low lunge, bringing the left foot in between the hands now at the top of the mat. Sinking the right knee back down. Now we're in low lunge on the other side. Using your blocks if you like. The reason I like using my blocks in poses like this is just gives me a little bit better balance, and also I can open up my chest instead of hunching over to reach the floor. Good. Now breathing into your right hip flexor and the left groin. As you breathe, you might feel yourself moving closer to the mat or sinking down closer to the mat. We're going to keep this pose for at least 3 more breaths so we can really open up the right hip flexor and the left hip. You can move around a little bit too if that feels good. And then slowly we'll move into the lizard pose. So taking the hands down now to the mat and scooching your left foot, just wiggling it out to the edge of the left side of the mat. Getting now even deeper into the left groin. You can even use your left elbow and slightly push it against your knee, and your knee, so your knee's pushing against the elbow, elbow against knee, just for a little tension there on the in-breath, and then on the exhale, release that and see if that helps you go even lower. So on the inhale, pushing your elbow and your knee against each other, and on the exhale, letting go. Checking in with your face and your jaw. Maybe move it around, open your mouth up. Letting go of any tension that accumulated there. And after the 1 more breath, we're going to push back into a downward dog from here. So tucking under the right toes, and then trying to meet the left foot to the right into a downward dog. And wiggling around here if that feels good, or taking some stillness if you like. Pushing the palms of the floor, palms of the hand into the floor, strong through the arms. Good, and then on the next inhale, we're gonna walk the feet up to the top of the mat, slowly and gently. And we're gonna take a forward fold here. Feet are hips distance apart, knees are bent, and then chest is coming to the thighs, just into the best, most calming forward fold ever. So letting go of the neck. Your hands can be on the floor, they can be clasped behind your neck if you need a little bit of release in the cervical spine and the top of your neck. Whatever feels the most relaxing for you. And then you can kind of move your body side to side if that feels good. Feeling the opening through the back of the legs, through the lower back. Feeling the nervous system unwind and reset. And then I'm going to get you to clasp your hands behind your back and fold and bring them over top of your head so we can get into the shoulders and chest a little bit more. And then we're going to bend through the left knee and open up the right side of the chest. So you're just bringing your hands, your clasped hands to the left, and then bending through the right knee and bringing that to the right. Good. And letting go of that, letting your arms just dangle in front of you. Shaking your head, yes and no. And then let's come up very slowly, vertebrae by vertebrae, into a mountain pose. Neck will come up last. And then maybe roll your shoulders back just a couple times once you get up there. Yeah, that should feel good. Okay, let's bring our hands and sweep them up to the sky. And then letting the left hand fall to the side and the right hand reaches to the left. Just opening up the right side body now. 2 more breaths here, feeling the elongation through your ribs. Opening up this area helps us breathe better and more deeply. Good, and then you can switch sides whenever you're ready. So inhaling the left arm up, and then moving it over to the right. Side stretch here. This is really good too, especially if you've been at a desk all day, doing paperwork. One more deep breath here. Good, and then you can release that. And we're just gonna go into a couple gentle standing poses, nothing too intense. Just a nice, slow, steady, a couple more poses to get into the hips. So standing at the top of the mat, bringing your right foot back, and we're gonna go right into a warrior 2. That might look like your right foot coming back and then bending through the knee and then opening up your hands into a T. Awesome. Just feel the strength and the steadiness in the lower part of the body and try to feel lightness in the top. So the crown is reaching to the sky, shoulders are relaxed. You might want to flip your palms open. That really helps my shoulders feel better. Good, and then feel the strength in your legs. all the work that the lower body is doing for you. Inhaling. And on the exhaling, straighten the left knee and reach the left hand up, exalted warrior. Inhaling here, good. Awesome, and then letting that go. Bring your right foot, facing it now to the side of your mat, matching the other, so both feet are facing forward. Good, we're gonna do another forward fold. This is really great for tension in the neck and in the lower back. So on the inhale, hands come to your waist, and then you're gonna open up your chest on the inhale, look up almost like a back bend, and on the exhale, fold forward from the hips. Prasarita Partanasana. Hands can come and lightly touch the ground, or you can get a block if they don't reach. Yeah, nice guys, that looks really good. Take 2 deep breaths here, just letting your head and neck relax. For me, I'm feeling a really intense stretch in my inner thighs. Bending through the knees helps a little bit too. And then taking the left hand and placing it directly beneath your face on the ground, we're going to open up the right hand to the side and just twist open here. So this one's pretty tough for me, but just make sure your neck is not too crimped on this one. Good. Yeah, it looks great. And then letting that go, now bringing your right hand below your face and opening up to the left in this twist version. So you're trying to twist from the upper back. Good, and then letting that go. Both hands can come to the ground again. And then on the inhale, hands come to your waist and coming on up. Awesome, taking yourself now to the top of the mat and just standing in mountain pose for a breath. You can grab a drink of water or if you need a drink of water or a drink of wine. Good, standing in mountain pose for a couple breaths here. Feeling your top of your head, your crown lifted to the sky. Feeling your spine lengthening. So crown is lifting up towards the ceiling while your feet are rooting down to the earth. Again, thinking about this strength and lightness. I love the concept because there's a place for everything, right? There's a place for being strong and there's also a place for ease. All right, we are going to take our right foot and take a step, a couple feet back, going into pyramid. Yeah, nice, that looks good. So feet will have a little bit of space in between them, so they're not on train tracks. That's just to help with balance. And then on the inhale, hands can come to hips. You can do that inhale back bendy thing again where you're opening up your chest and like looking up, opening your collarbone, and then on the exhale, folding forward up the hips. And your hips should be on an even plane. So maybe pushing the left one back a little bit. You'll feel the stretch intensify in the left hamstring as you do that. And then you can have your hands just come down to wherever they land. Mine land on my upper thigh. Yeah, and they might land on your shin, or you might have blocks. Blocks are good for this one. So we're really gonna start to get into our left hamstring and calf for this stretch. So just continuing to inhale and exhale here. Again, trying to hold this pose for a little while so we can really get deep into the belly of the muscle. And if you want, you can let your head and neck go and totally like just fold forward in a passive pose like that. And that's absolutely fine if you do that. Checking in with your shoulders, making sure there's no tension there. We'll take one more really deep breath here. That left hamstring should feel like it's getting a really good stretch. Good, and then on the inhale, engage your belly, hands come to hips, and then we're just gonna lift right back up to where we started. Great. And switching sides, so right foot comes up, and then left foot can step back. Just a super simple way to switch sides. Nothing fancy going on here tonight. All right, so once you've got some balance going on there, because this is a balancing pose as well, hands to hips, open up the chest, look up. Just feel that opening in your chest. And then on the exhale, folding forward over top of that right leg. And then when I learned this pose and how to cue for it, one of the cues was feel your chest coming down to meet your right top of your right thigh. And I'm like, I don't know who's doing that. I'm not. So I just use the cue, make sure to get your right hip back in space, because as soon as you do that, you can just feel that intensification of the stretch. And then if you want, you can let everything go and just fold right over that leg. If you close your eyes, you might feel like your balance is a little bit off, and that's totally fine. Let's just open up into the back of the right leg. Inhaling, growing taller, then exhaling, folding forward even more. And on the next inhale, bringing your hands to your hips, engaging your belly, and coming up again where we started. Yay. Bringing your right foot to meet your left. Hands come down. One more one more mountain pose here. And we're going to start to lower down onto the ground now. So coming down onto your bum. And just getting down onto the ground. Actually coming to lay down on your back with your knees bent. We are going to do some, oh my gosh, why did I just forget the word? The pose. It must be menopause. Okay, so on your back with the knees bent and the feet on the floor. Oh, bridge. Yeah, we're doing bridge pose. And so bring your feet to come a little bit closer to your bum than you would think they would want to, because that's just going to help set you up for bridge. And then inhaling, and on the exhale, lifting your hips up to the sky. And if you want, you can clasp your hands behind your back and tuck your shoulders under, if that feels good. So keeping your gaze forward, don't move your neck back and forth at all. And breathe here in this bridge. Opening up the chest, opening up the front of the body and the hips. Good, it should feel really good. them laced together and slowly coming back down to neutral. We'll do one more bridge, okay? So come down to neutral for a second. Take a breath here. And then pushing through your feet and lifting up your hips again into our bridge. You could tuck your shoulders again if you liked that version. And breathing here. Feeling the opening through the front of your hips, chest. Maybe you're getting a stretch through your neck as well. And maybe your butt muscles are working like mine. They're shaking now. And on the next exhale, you can unwind and come on down. And for the counter pose to that, let's bring the knees into the chest and give them a little squeeze. Rocking back and forth. And from here, we're gonna go into an easy twist. So arms come out to the side in a T. And then we can just drop our knees over to the left into a very easy twist. And you can look up towards the ceiling, or you can bring your gaze over to the right. Letting everything sink down and relax here. You don't have to hold any tension anywhere. We're totally just unwinding here. You don't need to do any work except for breathe. So just letting your legs go. Don't worry where they flop out to, it doesn't matter. Just feeling how nice this feels on the spine. Maybe you're even feeling a nice elongation in the side body on the right too. And then when you're ready, you can come back, knees into the chest again. Maybe give them another squeeze if you like that. Rock around a little bit. And then with the arms out into T, you can let them flop to the right. Just let everything fall where it may. The knees don't have to be lined up together. It just has to feel good. And if it feels good to you, you can take your gaze to the left. And breathing. If your mind wanders, that's okay. That's totally normal. That's what our minds do. You can just bring it back. It's just like any muscle. You have to train your mind to come back into the present. Maybe you hear some sounds around you. That's okay. And when you're ready, you can come back again into neutral, giving your knees another hug. I guess I'm really liking that tonight. And then before we go down into our final resting pose, you can do whatever feels good. I'm going to go into happy baby just to get some more opening into my pelvic floor and hips. If you have cramps, this should feel good. And maybe rocking back and forth. And whenever you're done that, find your most comfortable shavasana. with your legs out straight in front of you. Feet flop open to the side, or they just flop wherever. And then opening up your palms to the sky. And feeling yourself completely let go. As your body takes in just a couple more minutes of relaxation and mindfulness, being present. Just allow yourself that one last gift of a couple more breaths in Shavasana. And then when you're ready, taking a really nice deep inhale. And one cleansing exhale. And you can move yourself over to one side or the other, pushing yourself up into a seated pose eventually. No rush to get here. You're also welcome to stay in Shavasana because that's what we usually do. So you can stay there as long as you like and just enjoy that for as long as you can. And if you've made your way up with me, let's just hands to heart and we'll say namaste to each other. Namaste.
Namaste.
Ah. Love you guys.
Stay friends.
Have an awesome
And we have
night.
8 seconds left.
Oh my gosh, I can't even believe I did it. Woo, this is my second time. All right, have a lovely night.